day, welcome to Show on Current Affairs. I'm your host, Sunil Phool. As when we talk about the current affairs and we talk about the economy, we do talk about the well-being of people also. Today, we have Honorable Minister Mike Ellis with us, who is Associate Member, Minister for Mental Health and Addiction. Mike become the politician. He joined the current politics in 2014, and before joining the politics, he was a member of Calgary Police. When he worked there, he helped quite a lot of people, organization to improve their life. In 2021, he became the Associate Minister for Mental Health and Addiction. Welcome, Mike, and thanks a lot.
Thank you, sir. Thank you for having me. Very, very much a pleasure to be on your program.
Thank you, Mike. And you know, I have a tremendous respect for you guys because after a long time, we have seen the balanced budget. And today, Minister Jason Kenney, Premier of Alberta, has announced also the rebate on the gas price, as well as to help the community or Albertans about the high bill price, electricity bills too. Could you brief us about it?
Yeah, very, very excited about that. Obviously, with gas prices and electrical bills, obviously there are certain things that are beyond our control that are going on in the world today, as we are all aware, causing gas prices to skyrocket the way that it is. Certainly, I got to be honest. Quite frankly, the carbon tax that the federal government has imposed upon us has also, caused those numbers to go up. Certainly, come April 1st, the federal carbon tax is going to be increased more, again, causing gas prices to go up. So, we did have glad you mentioned it, we did have a balanced budget. We had a $511 million surplus. Obviously, with oil prices the way that they are, we want to be able to provide some relief to Alberta families, including many of your viewers, and that's why we're eliminating the gas tax here in Alberta of that 13 cents.
We are at the temple. You can see we are standing outside, me and Amy, both from Diversity TV. We are going to go inside the temple to give you the glimpse of the temple. After that, we are going to talk to different board members and the community member who are celebrating the Holi Festival, how they are enjoying. Also, we will talk to the priest, Panditji, and he will explain the significance of the Holi Festival in the Hindu religion. Thank you. Looking forward. Stay with us. I'm your host, Sunil Phool, and Amy. Namaskar, happy Holi. We are at the Bharatiya Culture Society. We have Dikshit ji with us. We have Basanti Bhan with us. Pandit ji is going to tell us what the importance of the Holi Festival is. He will also explain us the ceremonies, what we do, with the puja samagri we use. Pandit ji.
Namaskar. We welcome you all today for the Holi ceremony. Holi is the festival of colors, as you can see, festival of joy, festival of sweets, and the most important is the festival of fire. We are going to lit right now the fire with the mayor, his worship Amarjit Sohi, and once we lit the fire, then the Holi program starts.
Minister, in your current recent budget, you have allocated $20 million annual increase to the further increase access to the recovery-oriented system care. Can you tell us where this funding will be going and how it will be helping Albertans?
Yeah, well, there's many organizations. I think in and around 200 organizations, great non-profit organizations all throughout communities in Alberta, that money is going to be distributed on top of money that we, of course, have given over the last 3 years. That's $140 million over the last 3 years for that four-year term that we're planning. And we're very excited of a lot of the initiatives that folks have regarding mental health and as well as addiction. And I think it's important to touch on this when we talk about a recovery-oriented system of care. And if I was to substitute the word recovery, I can substitute it with the word word, wellness or human or holistic. And really what we're trying to ensure is that it is about total recovery of the human being. So, and it's first of its kind. It's there's no other jurisdiction in North America that is doing this. We're very excited about this. I know I've been in contact with many of my colleagues throughout Canada that are looking and watching what we're doing, and hopefully we can provide them, some numbers and support of all the great initiatives that we're doing.
Thank you, Mike. And Mike, but now we have talked enough about the COVID-19, but we have to move forward. But when we are moving forward, the effects of COVID-19 is not going to disappear in few days. It's going to take its own time. So in last few years, we have seen quite increase in opioid, how it has fatalities and suicide rate has gone up, not only in Alberta, BC, and North America also. How your government is planning to address this issue?
Well, yeah, thank you so much. And I'm glad you mentioned that. It's not just isolated to Alberta. It's all of North America that are seeing these record numbers. Many things that we've done. So we're the first jurisdiction in Canada to eliminate user fees. So basically, for addiction treatment centers, if you're Albertan, there's no cost. That was a huge barrier. There was a time there that you either had to have as they call it, the MasterCard crowd, or you had to essentially be on welfare in order to get any form of treatment, and it wasn't fair. So we completely eliminated that so that everybody has access to treatment. We've created spaces, and one thing I learned as a law enforcement officer is that we have to have those spaces available when people want that help. So that's what we've done. We've exceeded our expectation from 4,000 to 8,000 spaces. Again, eliminated those user fees. We have some great other initiatives, the digital overdose response system. We have another groundbreaking initiative, which is called the virtual opioid dependency program. Basically, it allows treatment on demand for anyone in Alberta. We built relationships with the pilot project that we're doing in Edmonton right now, as an example, with the fire department. So if you're, maybe somebody that isn't interested in going on the phone, but you want to go and talk to somebody. We find that with some people, they just want to talk to somebody. You can go to your nearest fire department in Edmonton, as an example, and they'll be able to counsel you in order to help you or a family member get help, or provide them access to the VODP so that they can get treatment on demand. Not to mention just the enormous initiatives that we're doing with 5 world-class therapeutic communities that we're building here in Alberta alone. So very, very excited about all the stuff we're doing. In fact, I'd probably say too much to even mention in this short bit.
Like we always talk about being reactive, but we're not proactive. So you did talk about mental health, but what we are doing for our first responders, like what they have faced in last 2 years, and especially the young generation, like grade 1 or kindergarten to grade 6 or 7, because they were all stuck in this, at home in front of the IT technology and all those things. So what programs we have in place so they are not going to have the mental health in future?
Well, great question, and thanks so much for that. So there are a number of programs already that are existing in place today for a number of our first responders to be able to, and this is through multiple employers, right, in terms of getting help, their employee, family, and assistance programs, and that includes both AHS and so if you look at paramedics, for example, there's a number of contract employers and they offer those types of services. But in addition to that, this is one of the issues that I have asked I spoke to our EMS advisory committee that we established, and one of the issues I asked them to take a look at, and they've set up a bunch of different subtables, is about challenges being faced by paramedics, our first responders, because if you looked at, and this is what I'm told, like you look back, a decade, 15 years ago, The average career for a paramedic was ballpark 15 years, right? Now it's less than 10. Right? It's a tough job, and quite frankly, the pandemic has made it more difficult. Right, there's additional stresses on that, on our. So one thing I've asked them to look at is say, okay, how do we come think about attraction and retention? Right, how do we look at setting up the jobs differently, and then what other supports do we need from a mental health standpoint to support our paramedics? Now they're looking at this issue right now. They haven't reported back to me yet, but I'm looking forward to that report. But I can tell you that when I spoke about EMS funding, that's part of that 64 million. Part of that is going towards a funding changes to a project that deals with work fatigue, because in certain areas of the province, we've set up a system where, and this was made sense a long time ago, where you're actually working for a 12-hour period, and then the next day it's a 12-hour period, and you're going for a series of 12, but you're also on call for the other 12-hour period. So you're actually on call for the full 5 days, right? Now, when it was the odd call, like once a week that you had to manage something, that was okay. But the volumes have increased. So we recognize that having people being on call all the time and actually then having to do call outs and work, and then they because they're basically on duty, and there can be, this goes to fatigue management when you're working during days and nights and changing all the time, there's higher risk and it provides stress. So we provided additional funding to be able to change the scheduling arrangement to make it not only safer for patients, but also better for the workforce in providing the services. So, thanks so much for that. So yeah, and I know that my colleague, Minister Ellis, is actually focused on this item as well. He's a former police officer, looking at how do we support first responders and what other programs do we need in place. So thank you for that.
Thank you, Mike. And, I really appreciate what you guys are doing. But Mike, when we talk about mental health, right, traditionally, whenever we are speaking about the mental health, we always talk about women and females. They are coming forward, but the male or men have never been addressed in this issue, and they don't come forward and talk about it, right? Like, we have an issue also. As a government, as a minister, and the COVID has given a lot of stress to more and females and the families, right? But when we talk about the mental health and support, how are your government, I should be saying, is helping male and female, both genders in the community?
Sure. Yeah, absolutely. Great question. And let me just talk about what you initially talked about, which is stigma. And I would say there's been a lot of progress, especially when it comes to males and the stigma of mental health. But I'll just say this, and this is coming from a sergeant of the Calgary Police Service, a former sergeant of the Calgary Police Service. I say, one of the things that we tried to do is break down the barriers, right, and let people know that there are challenges, there's calls to service that are very difficult, but you know what, there's treatment available for you, and that goes for anybody, especially when it comes to male and female, but especially for those males that think that maybe wow, maybe I don't need this. You know what, our mental health is important as any other health part of our body. One of the things that I did do is I actually streamlined the process. So what I mean by that is that there was various numbers that you could call for those issues that somebody might have regarding mental health. And I streamlined the process where simply, if you need some help, call 211. And, we built up a relationship with the United Way, which provides an excellent service with experts that are on the phone and depending on what mental health concern you have, or even as it relates to addiction, quite frankly, they're able to guide you into some phenomenal directions that will help address whatever your mental health concern might be. Because let me just be very clear, mental health is very broad, right? I mean, there are people that are depressed and have some anxiety, but then we also have people with severe mental illness that might be facing just use the example is paranoid schizophrenia, which I'd say on the opposite end of the spectrum. So we're making sure that we our not-for-profit organizations, everybody has access to services. I'm just going to add one more thing. even during that pandemic, we had $53 million, which is the most in Canada, dedicated strictly for helping folks with mental health. And so we're very excited about the project stuff that we've done.
Happy Holi!
So, Alec, it's your first Holi in Edmonton after lockdown?
Yes. Oh, great.
How you're enjoying it?
Yeah, I was about to say, how are you enjoying it? Good. Okay, great. What have you done so far? I can see that your face is full of color.
Throwing colors at other people.
Oh, okay, great. So happy to see that you're enjoying it.
Yes.
Okay, so what next?
Making people's hands orange.
Okay, great. So you start by mine.
Sure.
Okay. He wants to make people's hands orange. Oh, thank you so much.
Mike, my other question is, we are talking about the current things, right? Like male, females, all those people who are dealing it now. Then we have other factor also, our young generation, the youth. The COVID has affected them quite a lot too. And they have, especially the young generation from grade 1 to grade 6, elementary kids, they are spending too much time on electronics because their homework is there, their playtime, everything is on electronics. So they are kind of losing the social skills also, and it also increasing the screen time, ability to interact with the with their friends. That is going to affect our next generation when they are ready to go to work. They will lose the problem solving or those issues, how to interact, how to communicate, what your plans are as a government. Are you seeing this problem going to happen, or are you doing something?
Joe, absolutely, we're doing something, right? So let me just start with the youth mental health hubs. We spent an enormous amount of money ensuring that there were youth mental health hubs all throughout, in various stages all throughout Alberta. We've in Calgary specifically, we've invested, in some new projects regarding mental health here. Let me just say, and I don't want to tip my hand or anything like that, but I'm working on some fantastic initiatives with Minister LaGrange, as well as Minister Schultz, to ensure that we have a comprehensive care system to, as you put it, our young generation and those kids who have been impacted not just by COVID, but by various aspects of life, quite frankly. So I won't get into too many details with that, but rest assured that we're working very hard. There's some great not-for-profit organizations that are ensuring supports for youth mental health, and we're continuing to make sure that this is a top priority for this government.
Day, happy Holi. We are at the Bharatiya Culture Society. We have president of the society with us, Mr. Mithal. He's going to tell us what we are doing here, how they run their temple, facilitate all the things. Welcome, Mithal.
Thank you, Diversity TV. We are very thankful to you guys for coming out to shoot this program. It's a wonderful program. We are trying to bring the whole community together. This is a very special festival for all people from Indian origin, and it's celebrated with a lot of colors being sprayed on each other, and it's a festival of colors. So it will be a wonderful program. We are serving snacks, and then we have Holi Dahan, which is a spiritual thing for the Holika, and then we have some DJ playing nice music. We're expecting around crowd of 2,000 people, and which will be a great thing for the whole community.
So Mike, my next question, when we are talking about the mental health and support, right? Having a support system is one thing, and having communicated to the people who need it, right? Or people who might be able to support their young generation, their parents, their spouses, their kids, how they can get this information and whom they should be contacting.
Yeah, well, I mean, and I guess I kind of alluded to it earlier, but 211 really is your best and most direct contact, and really, no matter what the question is related to mental health, you contact contact 211, and there are some fantastic experts there that are going to help guide people into really into whatever direction is going to get the help that that person needs.
No, thank you, Mike, and thanks a lot for taking a time from your busy, schedule and taking a time to come and answer our question. Thanks a lot. I really appreciate. You have any last message for our viewers?
Well, I just want to say thank you so much. I know COVID-19 has impacted all of us, but rest assured that this government is ensuring that mental health and addiction supports are there, and I will just say that this government is there for you. Thank you very much, sir.
Thank you, Mike. Thanks a lot. All the best wishes. You are watching a show on current affairs. I'm your host, Sunil Phool. Till we meet again. Thank you, Mike. God bless you.